Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 29th. It is 6:24 right now. Market's going to open in about 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Just got a few things here to update, and we should be good to go. Last thing. And it looks like we are good to go. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Link sent out. Looks good. All right, I'm gonna go over here to the clean chart. Go up to the daily. And I will start marking up liquidity over here. All right, dropping down to the 8 hour. Dropping down to the 4 hour. Dropping down to the 2 hour. Dropping down to the 1 hour. Dropping down to the 30-minute. $15-minute. A lot of liquidity building up here up top. So eventually when price corrects back up, it's just gonna fly. And lastly, the 10-minute over here. And it looks like we're good to go. All right, so let me see if there's any lower levels. So there is a lower level right there. Let me go back to the 1 minute. So I've marked up liquidity here. Closest level above is going to be at 38,738. And the closest level below is at 38,584. So it's actually not too far. There's liquidity kind of sitting close by in both directions. So got liquidity marked up right there. Here's our clean chart. I'm going to mark up 6:30, mark up 8 o'clock. I think one thing to focus on is going to be the structure now, because you guys remember from yesterday, we got caught at that support, and the structure might be relevant this time around. So we got the 4 hour right there going down to the 1 hour. All right. It's not really too close to current price. So we don't really have the higher time frame structure nearby. We'll have to look for the structure to produce here on the 1 minute once price continues to move along here on open. It's 6:28 right now, so the market's going to open up in 2 minutes. ATR is currently 8 right now, so it's pretty normal. Here is our main chart. From our main chart here, I don't believe there was any. So there's low impact news today at 4 o'clock and 5:55. I'm going to mark that up. And then we have some more low impact news at 7:30. So 4, 5:55. O'clock there. 5:55, which is red book. I think if price gets near these news prices, I'm probably just going to ignore it because they're low impact. We have news over here at 7 and 7:30. So we'll see when price gets near those price points. But for the most part, there's news for today, 4 o'clock, 5:55, 7, and 7:30. All low impact, nothing really heavy here. So we'll play by ear and see where that goes. Retail sentiment's neutral right now. So there's not really much of a bias. But all right, guys, market is opening up in about 20 seconds. Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 29th. Market's gonna open up shortly. ATR is currently at 9 right now, so it's pretty normal for pre-market. Looks like it's gonna pick up to about probably around 15 for today. And we'll see where that ends up going. So who's here so far? Morning, Kamal. Morning, Jonathan. Morning, Nick. Morning, Patricia. Morning, everybody. Yeah, so Nick said FTMO just sent him an email. They're deactivating his funded account because they're no longer servicing US clients. I figured that was going to be the case. So unfortunately for you guys who still have FTMO, that's why I made the move. Like I already knew that was going to happen. And that's why I made the full move from, CFD brokers. So I don't recommend you guys go to a CFD broker if you guys are still using them. Make that jump to the futures. All right, guys, market is now open. We're in this big spike right here. Market's up across the board. So that lower level liquidity just got ticked. Price is below right here. So here on the whole numbers chart, look for that divergence back up for retracement and continuation back down. I think that will probably be a good sign that price will continue dropping from where it's currently at. Looking at this here, the ATR is currently at 14.15. So the volatility is high enough. But yeah, the main thing here to probably look for, well, the divergence here already came up pre-market, so it's a little too late. Divergence happened right here on the opening candle, and it already hit TP, of course, if anybody looked to take that. But if you're looking over here on the main chart, not the main chart, the whole number chart, look for that retracement. So possibly retracement back up and continuation back down to this level, as long as this level doesn't get hit yet. So you guys see here how it's swinging back up. Look for the swing back to the upside and come back down. But if it touches the whole number down here already or gets too close to it, then you just would have to wait for the next level. Looking at the PRB, there's no PRB here yet. There's no rejection since it's open. So actually, we got the rejection here on the opening candle. So the first rejection is already there. We have a space consolidation candle right here. Now for the PRB, you're looking for the same thing. Price retrace back, bounce off the pivot, and come right back down. So it's basically the same pattern all around. There's nothing here for the breakout V3. Clean charts over here. As you guys can see, price is kind of just dumping. Once this lower low is established, I'll mark this up as a support, and then obviously we'll go from there. Here is the liquidity, guys. So liquidity just got hit that lower level. If anybody caught it, it's already a full TP right there. So that lower level of liquidity that I marked up pre-market is just got hit, and it just blasted right through its TP. All right, so price is rejecting off the whole number right here, as you guys can see off the 50 mark. We'll see if this establishes the lower low and it bounces back to open. So we might get a bounce off this point, maybe correction back to open, maybe continuation down further, or price just might keep dumping from here. Seeing a few. They say morning, Akil. Thanks, Nick. CNBC just reported Dow falls 300 points, Nasdaq tumbles as Nvidia falls for the first day in 4. So with that said, we might get a correction here at some point. So look out for it. Yeah, just look out for that correction. This looks like it could be a CV entry. If this candle closes green, it'll probably be a CV entry. It'll be the start of the correction back up. So no green candle right there. Price is still dumping a little bit. So we've now cut into this lower level down here, as you guys can see. Labels over here. And I'm gonna get the labels on over here on the side. Wonder why the labels are not showing here. Probably mess with the settings. I was trying to get the labels on right here so I can kind of see where things are plotted. But for some reason, the labels are not showing on the side. That's okay. It's not really necessary, but yeah, it's fine. I'll just leave it as is. All right, so we got price over here swinging back up. There goes the correction that I was just talking about. So we got the lower low right there. It's not established yet. Once it's established, I'll mark up the support on a clean chart. I'll just mark up a temporary support here so that you guys can have an idea where the support's currently sitting. So you guys can see how it's bouncing back up. You know, odds of this pushing back up to open are possible. I don't think it's like super likely, but it's possible. It might not push all the way back up to open. It might push it halfway and then come back down. So we'll kind of see where that goes. There's no momentum divergence here. It already crossed way earlier over here, pre-market. So there's no momentum divergence here. Let's see, Medusa charts. And yeah, that's what I was looking for, Medusa, because like everything else has the labels, but just this one right here, I think this one just might be corrupted. So I went over here to chart settings, and it's, oh, I see it right here. Okay. Thank you. I think I just did that for the clean chart because I didn't want to have this stuff on there, but yeah, this is useful. All right. Got it on right there. I just wanted to see what the divergence was looking like. Okay, so you got price kind of swinging back up right here. What I would be looking for is the correction back down. So on the whole number chart over here, if you're looking at the MDV2, you know, looking for price to swing above this level right here, swing below, and correction back down, something like that. That's kind of what I'd be looking for over here. I'd use this as a confluence for price to continue back to the downside until we get this correction back up and then, or not correction, but retracement back up and then correction to the downside. Then I'd be possibly looking for some entries over here for like the actual strategies. So we have a V1 variation. Actually, no, we don't. We have a V1 pattern, not a V1 variation because there's a sell signal right here already. The support here has been established now. The reason why it's established is because we have a high here. So whenever you're looking for a support or a resistance to be established, you're just looking for the next high low to come up. So for example, here the lower low came up and we were waiting for this higher high, or not a higher high, but just any type of high to come up. This lower high came up right here. And now that it's come up, we have this established as the support. So we have a support level right there. I'm wanting this buy signal to come up because this buy signal is going to confirm the retracement to the upside. And once we have this retracement, we can look for the continuation back down. This right here, if this candle rejects off the pivot, this is going to be a PRB entry. So this is a PRB entry right now that's currently running. I'm not in this position, but I will mark it up for you guys so that you guys can follow it. So this right here is the PRB entry. We had the rejection here off the opening candle. We have the space consolidation candles right here. Price rejected back up, rejected off the pivot right there. And that's the entry for the PRB. So I'm not in this position here. I just marked it up for you guys. We'll come back and take a look at that later. I think it's a little bit of a risky entry because of how price is currently moving and because we have this pending buy signal right here. So personally, I wouldn't recommend taking it. Like I said, I'm expecting price to probably push up to maybe opening price. Yeah, right here. Push up to opening price, bounce off, and then come back down. This is the most ideal push to the upside for retracement. The other thing is price might not push all the way up. Price might push up partially and then come back down, right? But what I was looking for here on the MDV2 chart, basically the clean chart number 2, I would look for the retracement. So the retracement's up here now, right? Now that we have the retracement up here, we have a V1 pattern that's setting up. What I'm looking for here next is I'm looking for price to pull back below, retrace again, and come back down. So this is starting to reset for a momentum divergence. And this is also going to set up for a momentum divergence version 2, which is on the whole numbers over here. Next set of MPS just hit full TP. Let's see. Which MPS were you looking at, Nick? Was it this one right here? Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. Or because if you took this one right here, this one would have lost, right? Yeah, because this one over here, I think this is the level right here at the 530, Nick. This can actually come back down to 520. When price is overextended like this, I try to avoid the MPS because it's due for retracement. If the MPS is like pretty normal, it's even consolidating, I would take it. But for something like this, this was overextended quite a bit. It's about 200 points. It's a pretty big drop for me personally. Where's the momentum pullback scalp strategy? I think I had a note on there. Yeah, so it says right, this is what you put right here. Take caution if price is overextended 75 to 100 points. Price was actually overextended here about 195 points. So it's well over that. Just keep that in mind, guys, for the MPS, because whenever price is overextended like that, it's due for retracement. And then on top of that, CNBC also reported Dow is down, right? So when they report it's down like that, the retracement is, or the manipulation to the upside is likely and it's bound to happen. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, I haven't taken any entries here yet. I don't think the PRB played out. So the PRB didn't play out today. It was kind of expected, in my opinion, because of how price is moving. Looking at this over here, we have a breakout V3 that's setting up. We have a double body rejection. If you get a sell signal with a following red candle, this will probably be a breakout V3. Liquidity there already got hit, so we have the first liquidity there that pushed through. Here is our clean chart. We don't have a resistance yet, but if we get a higher high, so this is what I'm looking for next. Or actually, we don't have a low yet. So once we have a new low here, this high right here is going to be established. And then once price pushes back up higher, it's going to establish a higher high, and that could be the resistance. But because there's no low here yet, this here cannot be established as the high yet. The high can still get pushed up higher. So if price pushes up higher here, this is just going to disappear, and it's going to push it up higher from where it's currently at. So it looks like price established a support, and now it is ranging, consolidating within this middle area right here. So it's kind of similar to the same market that we had, over the past couple of weeks, consolidating market right there. And again, right here, we have a new high. So like I said earlier, this high is not going to be established until we get a new low. So when price comes down, there would need to be a low that establishes somewhere down here before we can get, another high point. So just be patient with your entries, guys. You guys can see the ATR is extremely high right now. It's currently at 25 ATR. I mean, at this case, I don't know if a 1020 will work for us. You might have to use a 1025 for our TP stop loss today. But we'll see. I'm not sure if this will actually hold or if it's going to adjust a little bit. Here's one thing that I noticed, guys. So you guys can see here how I have only 2 pivots on my chart. I was kind of testing the strategy that you guys were talking about yesterday. I forget what we call it, the pivot cross or whatever. But the pivot cross, what I've noticed is if you have a buy signal like this here and it hasn't crossed yet, when it crosses, that's usually where the entry should be. That's where I've seen majority of the entries hit. So for example, over here, it already crossed at this point. But we have a buy signal here, bullish divergence, not incorporating the trend, but if this here does finally cross, this will probably continue climbing at least 10 points. So if you guys want to keep an eye out on that, you guys can. I just know that last night I was kind of just testing things to see how it would work. And from my understanding, that's probably the best way to identify the cross. So if you guys want to look at that, feel free. We have a sell signal here. It's pending. There's not going to be a cross here for a sell because it's still bearish right now. But basically, the green is leading. So wherever the green crosses with momentum, that's typically where the cross entry would happen. So we have a pending sell signal right here. Price is slightly climbing up. It looks like it's trying to establish some sort of consolidation range right here. Hasn't established it yet, but it's trying to. So still no pivot cross here. If this candle closes green, like a strong green candle, this could be the pivot cross. I'm not going to take the trade, but I'll just follow it. Just so that we can continue forward testing that strategy that you guys like. I'm not going to take it because it's against the trend. It goes against my analysis. Typically, I want to trade with the trend. So for me personally, I would not take the trade here. But if you guys want to take it, we'll follow it here and we'll see if it plays through. But it's going to have to close as a strong green candle. You guys can see the pivots here. It's going to pull back. So unless it closes pretty strong, it's not going to actually close properly. Looks like the volatility here is going to start to die down a little bit. Or I could be wrong. I can shift. Still don't have that sell signal. Back over here at the clean chart, we have the divergence though. So the divergence here shifted. You guys can see here that these will sometimes overlap. So this is how you guys can kind of understand where where you can kind of predict what's going to happen next. So you can see over here, we're in a bearish trend. We have a bearish momentum. So the sell signal is going to come eventually. Like from what I can see right here, I think price is going to drop. At least to some extent, right? So the sell signal is going to close and this is probably going to drop to some extent. For me personally, the way that I like to trade is I like to wait for maybe the last confirmation. I don't like to get in right away, but I like to wait for the last confirmation. So what I would look for here is I would look for the sell signal to come up. Once the sell signal comes up, I'm going to look for it to kind of drop a little bit, retrace, and continue down. And then I'm going to take my entry way later over here, right? Because I want to wait for that full confirmation. Some people like to get it right away. Like for example, there's a pivot scalp entry right here. A lot of people would like to just take that entry. But for me personally, I want to wait for that confirmation. So I have a couple confirmations here. We have the bearish divergence. We have the bearish trend. We have the bearish trend meter. We have the bearish momentum. Now, for me personally, I would be looking for it to kind of push down a little bit, retrace, and come back down. Because I want to know for sure this trade's going to go in my direction. Depending on your risk appetite, if you want to get in right away, there's a lot of different opportunities here where you could have got it in, right? You could have got it in at the momentum divergence right here, or you could have got it in when price pulled back below the pivots right here, or you could have gotten in at the pivot scalp right here. There's so many different opportunities for entry. It's just up to your risk appetite. For me, I don't like to trade risky. I like to be very conservative. So I look for the entrance that provides me the most peace of mind, basically. Because like, for example, here, you guys will see pivot scalps. Like sometimes the entry will come up and then it might just go back and forth for a while before it ends up coming down. But if you guys remember, if you guys learned anything from yesterday's market, you guys remember that there's a lot of fake outs that can and will happen. So for me personally, to prevent getting caught in those fake outs, I prefer to wait for a later confirmation. So BB3 did not come up over here. I'm gonna take this off. Still no BB3 here. Here is our clean chart. We don't have a resistance yet. So you can see prices just going back and forth between this area. Once we have a resistance, I'll mark it up, but right now we currently don't. The reason why we don't have that is because this right here is a lower high. Once we have a higher high here, I'll mark it up as a resistance. I typically mark up support and resistance at the higher highs and at the lower lows, which we don't have right now. We have a lower low here, which is the support, but we don't have the higher high, which is a resistance. So at this point, we can probably assume that price will consolidate here for a bit. My guess is that price is probably going to push up a little bit higher because we need that higher high to be established at some point here to create the resistance. So looking at this here, since there's no higher high yet, I'm expecting a higher high to come up at some point because there's no direction here. If there's a directional push to the downside, then okay, great. I'm not going to expect a higher high to be established. But because price is going sideways right here, there needs to be a push up higher before it comes back down, because this push up higher is going to be the resistance, right? Typically what happens every day is the market tries to establish a support and resistance on the open. So market will open, price will go back and forth for a bit. It'll establish a support resistance and then it'll range within that area. Right now, we just don't have that. So haven't taken any trades today. Pretty much in the clear so far, just waiting for my opportunities here to come up. As I mentioned, there's a couple different scenarios that I'm looking for. The main one is that I'm looking for price to push in the direction of the trend. So we have the sell signal here. We have the divergence break below the structure right here. Not structure, but the whole number, the 50 mark. So what I'm looking for here now is I'm looking for the retracement. So you guys can see how the divergence here is retracing up. I'm looking for it to confirm the retracement to the upside, and then I'm looking for it to come back down. Once it comes up and then comes back down, and if it closes below this point, I'm expecting price to push down to the next level right here. And I'll use this as a confluence for me to look forward for any other sells that may come up. So right here, it's starting to set up. You guys can see the divergence there has crossed up. It's now crossing back below. If this here breaks and closes past this full number, the 50 mark, I'm expecting this to drop down further to this full number right here. So if you guys are familiar with the strategy, the way that this would work is a 25-25 would be taken. Or if you wanted to take the full move, you can. You'd probably take this for maybe, I don't know, probably like a 40, 45, 45, something like that. But again, it would have to close below this line right here. It's not there yet, but once it does, that's what you'd be looking for. So basically just looking for price to break and close past this 50 mark. There's no specific entry for us here, at least not yet. This here could be a momentum divergence, but it would have to close. Yeah, it would have to be pretty obvious. So you guys see here, if this candle here closes as a strong red candle, this here would be the momentum divergence, and this would be the entry that I'd be looking to take here. So we just got to follow it here. It's got 40 seconds left on the candle. There's not very much movement. So it would have to be a very, very clear red candle. Like it'd have to close like maybe like somewhere down here. Otherwise, it is it's just going to keep going sideways right here. So I'll watch this here. The volatility is very low right now. ATR is high, but the volatility on these specific candles are very low. And if it never becomes obvious, then I'm just not going to take the trade, of course. I'll just look for another setup. All right, so we got price pushing back up right there, which is completely fine. But again, for me to take the entry here, the divergence has to be very clear. It's gonna have to split up, and it's gonna have to be pretty obvious. Plus, we have news in about 5 minutes. Thanks for Trita for the heads up. That's probably why the candles here are pretty much flat. So we got news in about 5 minutes. It's Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index, Richmond Fed Manufacturing Shipping Index, and Richmond Fed Services Index. All low impact, but nonetheless, it's still news. So the cross never happened right there. As you guys can see, the volatility is pretty much dying down right now. And again, there's no entry. So the candles never broke below this 50 mark. That's the thing that you guys want to focus on right here, the 50 mark. And also for no buy signal here. Because if the buy signal comes up, it's going to reset the setup. As you guys can see over here, this is pretty much the market that we were stuck in yesterday. And pretty much how we've been stuck in for the past 3 months now. It's just been a consolidating market. There's no movement here. The volatility is just kind of flat. And there just isn't much to work with here. All right, so price is still climbing. Price is still climbing. Buy signal still hasn't closed. We have the divergence right here back up. Still waiting for the confirmation back down, but it's not there yet. Double wick rejection right here from Adu. Next move for the heads up right there. That's a reversal pattern. So price looks like it might climb up a little bit. Take this off. All right, we got news in 4 minutes. News in 4 minutes. Sideways market right here again. So it looks like the range is somewhat established. It's not fully established yet, but it's somewhat established. We have a higher high right here that's currently pending. So once this higher high is established, I'll mark this up as a resistance. And then once this resistance is established, we'll see where it's going to follow through with. Nice. Yeah, so there's a cross right here that Madhu and Kevin identified that went straight through. Nice work, guys. Yeah, Kevin said might need to do some back testing of his own. Yeah, so I was back testing the that cross strategy. It works good on certain days, but there's certain days where it doesn't work well. So like last Friday, I don't think it worked very well. The couple days before that, it worked very well. There's like some days where it works really well and some days that it doesn't. So that's why I was looking to incorporate more confluences to it, or like more requirements to the strategy. I mean, if you want to take all of them, you can, but I would probably limit your TP stop loss to like a 1-to-1, right? The 1-to-1 would probably be the best decision because, or if you could even do a negative risk or a positive risk toward it, would be even better because when it does hit, it hits, but when it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. So it's tough to, it's not something that I would personally use because my win rate can't, I can't take a hit like that to my win rate. I think it would destroy my trade psychology. You know, I'm used to winning a lot of trades. So for me personally, I try to look for the entries and the strategies with the highest win rate. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the best way to do it, but for me personally, it's just the way I like to trade. So if you guys are okay with taking a couple losses here and there, like more than usual, then you know both directions could work. But for me personally, you know, since I like to keep a high win rate, that's the main reason why I stick in the direction of the trend, because it's kind of tricky when you go against it. But if you have a positive risk reward, then it will work out that way, obviously, because you can take the losses, and then when you take the wins, they'll pretty much balance itself out. So we got price swinging back from here. We got news price in about a minute. Oh, we got 7 o'clock. It's the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index, Services Index, etc. Just the Richmond Fed Index all around. Shipment Index, Manufacturing Index, Services Index. It's coming up in about 30 seconds. It's low impact news, but it's news nonetheless. So still want to be cautious around that anyways. So the thing with this here is that we talked about how price was attempting to push back up to open. It finally did. I mean, it took a while to get up there, but price consolidated here for a bit. And it looks like it's still trying to push up. So here goes the news candle right here. Color that pink, of course. We have a higher high right here that's currently pending. It's not established yet. If this pushes up higher, it's going to just, this will disappear and there will be a new higher high right here. So we'll see where that goes. Once the higher high is established, and there you go. It did exactly what I was just mentioning. So once this here has been established, I'll mark this up as a resistance. Looks like price's target price point to touch will be the opening price right there. I don't know if price will actually get there, but that's pretty much what we talked about earlier. You know, when price established its lower low, I said price will probably push up to open, establish a higher high, and then come back down because that will establish this as the range. So again, right here, if this candle pushes up higher, it's just going to, this will disappear and it'll push it up into a higher level. Not there yet, but basically. And there you go. It's a new higher highs established right there. Again, target price point is going to be opening price right there. It might just bounce off it, come back down. So there we go with price back to open. I know this is a strategy a lot of you guys like to apply. Not one that I would personally take, but it does happen sometimes, especially during a ranging market. You know, back to open is a real thing. So I'm fine with price pushing up. If price wants to push up and then we just keep climbing up higher, then, you know, that's fine by me. For me personally, I would rather take buys anyways, but I'm going to take whatever the market gives us here. For an asset like YM, you know, this is usually a bullish asset. So that's why typically I'd like to look for buys here versus sells. But if, you know, whatever the market gives us, if we're looking for sells at the time or if we're looking for buys at the time, I'll take whatever's present. But again, right here, you can see prices rejecting directly off the opening price. We might just get a correction back to the downside here. Once this is established, I'll mark this up as a resistance. You guys will be able to see things a lot more clear. So let's go back over here to our clean chart. Here's our clean chart. I'll just mark up a temporary resistance right now. So you guys can see here, there's the structure that now that we have up front. If price pushes up higher, I'll just move the resistance up higher because it has not established yet. But if it does establish and price comes back down, you guys will see that this is the range that we're currently in right now. The same market that's been like this for the past 3 months now. I'm really surprised that the whole spring season was a consolidating ranging market. I'm really surprised because we don't ever have that. I can't remember the last time, you know, I've been trading for over 10 years now. I haven't seen a spring that's consolidated like this for continuous months. Usually we'll see a consolidation like maybe 1 week out of the month, but not like months on months on end. And a lot of you guys here have, you know, traded with us for years too, and you guys have never seen the spring months like this. Usually the spring months is where we make most of our money because we have like a lot of opportunities and entries that come up during this time. But unfortunately, from February up until now, you know, we've had this type of market that kind of like has volatility on open, and then it just dies down and we're just in consolidation and range for the rest of the time. So, you know, maybe the market's shifting, maybe the seasons are shifting, and maybe the summer is going to be volatile. That might be the case, right? We might have a slow market right now, but then the summer months might be volatile. We really don't know. Maybe the fall months will be super volatile. Maybe the winter months will be volatile. It's just, this is the type of market that we're currently in. And you have to adapt with the market, of course, because the market's not always going to give you what you're looking for. So let's see what else I got here. What's up, Honest? How's it going? All right, so back over here to our main chart. So the higher high is still there. The higher high is actually now established, so that is going to be the resistance point. The reason why this here is established is because we have a higher high and we have a new higher low right here. So once we have this higher high here and there's a new low that establishes, this here is now established and it's set in place. So this is no longer going to disappear. You guys can see earlier price kept pushing up higher and it just kept getting pushed higher and higher. Now that we have a new low here, this higher high is established, and this is now going to be our resistance. So the resistance there is going to be set in place. It's not going to be touched. That's going to be identified as the actual resistance point. Yeah, honestly, good, bro. Frustrating market since yesterday. Everything's stuck in a range. Yeah. I mean, you just got back to this, Honest. It's been like this for like the past 3 months, bro. So you haven't really missed out on much. The markets usually during the spring, and you've traded with me over the years too, Honest. You understand how the market is. During this time is usually where it's moving very directional, but this is just the type of market that we're currently in. I mean, we have strategies for a sideways market, but we also have to wait for those to come up as well. There's actually a CV entry right here. I don't know if anybody spotted that, but there was a CV entry right here. It was kind of hard to tell because the candles look about the same size, but it does look a little bit smaller. So there was a CV entry right here. If anybody identified this, there was a high here with a green candle. This was a smaller red candle. That would have been a CV entry for a sell. I don't think anybody was paying attention to it though. But this strategy, the CV entry, is actually one of the best strategies for the sideways market. It doesn't come up very often, but when it comes up, it's usually pretty spot on because it identifies the correction from where it's currently at. All right, so we got price kind of sitting at the resistance level right here. We'll see if price actually breaks above it and continues climbing. If that becomes the case, then, so be it. All right, so price is breaking past these price structures here. So instead of looking for sells here, I mean, we might be looking for some buys at this point. So what I'm looking for now, earlier we were looking for price to come down, retrace, and fall down further. Now we're looking for price to push up. Now we're here at the 650 mark. Here on this levels chart. Here, I'll just call this levels. I think it makes more sense. I'll rename this as the levels chart. So on this chart right here, I pretty much mark up the 50 mark and the 100 mark. I'm just looking at the whole numbers because the whole numbers is typically where price will push up to. We do have a buy signal here. Another way of trading this, I mean, there's a lot of different ways of trading this, but another way of trading this is using momentum as your catalyst. So we had a bullish momentum here, price broke above. We had the retracement with momentum divergence right here, and then now it's pushing up higher, right? So that's what I'm looking for here at the moment. So I'm looking for price to break past the structure here, retrace, come back up, and the target price point is going to be the next whole number up here. So there's a ton of different ways to trade, guys, that you guys know. My way is not the only way of trading. And that's why we have a ton of different charts on here. We have a chart here for our main entries. We have a chart here for our clean chart so that you can identify structure and fake outs. You guys can see the fake out happening right there. We have our liquidity chart here to identify where liquidity is sitting. And then now we have this chart for levels. So I like to split things up so that you guys don't get too confused with what's going on, because if you do everything on one chart, it's just going to be a mess. So I'll try to split things up here a little bit so that you guys can kind of see where things are going. And if you guys are trading a different type of strategy, this will help you guys understand as well, what to focus on. I think the best chart for everybody here to look at would probably be the main chart, because there's not really much noise on here. There's no indicators. It's just a plain chart, and I mark up structure levels. So I think this is going to be the main chart that we keep flying back to, because this here, you can actually see what's going on in the market, right? So you guys can see the fake out here. Price broke past the resistance, it closed, it faked out, and now it's pulling back into the range. So I'll probably keep this one up the most. If I see any entries, of course, I'll go back to our main chart over here. But as of now, there's just nothing to look at. There's nothing we can take. There's just no opportunities for us to take here. So I'll shuffle back between the charts. At some point, I might close out one of these. So I might close out the breakout V3 chart or the PRV chart, because we don't really apply these for the live sessions anyways. Some people still like to apply them, but I personally don't myself. So I think the main charts we'll look at is our main chart for our regular scalps, main chart here to see market structure. Obviously, we'll come back to liquidity when it's close by, but it's not close to it now. And the levels chart right here, which is another good confluence to focus on whole numbers. Yeah, exactly. Anna said, usually the market picks up direction in spring. Yeah, it's usually what happens, but it's one of those times of the years. Nice work, William. So here's William's profits for the day so far. William locked in some pretty good profit. About $50 per account. So he has about like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 20 accounts here. So total profit of see 50 times 20, close to $1,000 right now. Nice work, William, on locking that in so far. Let's see, Medusa said bullish divergence and high-low scalp. Looks like it might have to just hit for 10 points. Yeah, this is where it gets a little tricky. So the trend here still hasn't established yet. I personally would look for the trend here to establish before I start looking for any entries for myself personally. It's just in a tricky area. So looking over here at the clean chart, you guys can see price is now consolidating around the resistance point. So this is tricky. When price does this, you want to be careful because price is going to break out in either direction. It can break out above or it can break out below back into the range, right? There's no telling what price is going to do here. But I mean, we'll see. So let's see what we got over here. Yeah, there's not too much going on. I was trying to see if price broke past the structure over here or past the price level, the whole number, but it hasn't done that yet. So what I was looking for here is I was looking for price to kind of break above it, come back down, and then push back up. But it didn't do that. So there's no confirmation of that bullish push just yet. Here is our clean chart. So as you guys can see, this is what I was warning you guys about earlier. Be careful when you start to see consolidation around price structure, because it's going to break out. And you guys can see right here, it was hard to tell whether price was going to break out above or whether price was going to pull back into the range. And that's exactly what happened here. So whenever you guys trade in an area like this is you're kind of taking a risk, right? It's a big gamble that you guys are taking because you can't really tell where price is going to go. My guess was that price was going to pull back into the range here because this is typically what was happening yesterday. If you guys remember yesterday, there was a bunch of fake outs, right? Price hit resistance, pull back into the range. Price hit support, pull back into the range. It's the same. I mean, it's just the same type of market structure that just keeps repeating itself over and over again. So, if you see a V1 variation or any type of reversal pattern back into structure or back into the range, it's probably going to be a decent entry. That's probably what's going to happen. We didn't have any of those here, but if we did, that would be something to look out for. All right, so there's no trend here. As you guys can see from the pivots are kind of just crossing into each other. They're starting to go a little sideways. This here might be a pivot cross that you guys are looking for, guys. I'm not going to take this one here, but again, we'll just use this as a confluence. So if this candle here closes red, it looks like it's going to be a pivot cross. We have a buy signal here. You guys can see it didn't cross yet, but now that it's crossed here, This here, it's kind of hard to tell if this even crossed. Let me just replay to this previous candle. No. So if you guys go back to this red candle here, you guys can see the cross did not happen on its close. So the cross is still not established yet. If this candle here closes red, this will establish the cross, and that will be the entry that some of you guys here are looking at. I mean, even if it closes green, it might close green and the cross might happen right there. Like I was saying, guys, the green pivot here is going to be the catalyst for the cross, because the green pivot is the only one that crosses over. The blue one just stays stale, and the green one that moves over. So the green moves above, it's bullish. Green moves below, that's bearish. This here looks like it'd be the setup you guys are looking for. I do, and I forgot who else was looking at it. Not going to take a trade. I just wanted to mark it up for you guys. It's at news price, so it's kind of tricky. Yeah, again, I wouldn't take that there because if you guys can see, the cross didn't actually happen. So if you were to play back to this previous candle, I was saying this candle would have to close red because you can see right here the cross did not happen. So again, the cross is still setting up. If this candle here closes red, this next one, it can still be that cross that you guys are looking for. Again, I'm not going to take this trade, guys. I'm just marking it up for you guys. It's just in an area that I don't want to be in. It's currently right here within the range, as you guys can see. So this is basically what happened today. Price opened right here, pushed below, established a support, climbed its way back up to open, established a resistance here, retraced down a little bit, faked out, and then now pulled back into this area below. So a lot of uncertainty in the market right there. Let's see if this here actually closed. Okay, so it did cross right here. This is your cross entry that you guys are looking for. The cross happened on this doji candle right there for anybody who is looking to take it. I mean, I think it was kind of tricky because of the volatility. It's just way too low. I wouldn't have taken it. And personally, I would rather have that as a red candle. You know, it's the same thing that happens with my regular momentum divergence. I look for the same thing. Yeah, Nick said no volatility on the candle though. As far as the scalp goes, that ain't it. Yeah. It's always key, guys. Like when you guys are scalping, you want volatility to be on your side because you want price to just spike to your TP. If there's no volatility there, you're going to be stuck in this position going back and forth for God knows how long, right? You guys could be holding on to that position for 5 minutes, 20 minutes. I mean, the last time we took a trade, I think the last time we took that trade last Monday, I believe, we were in that position for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You know, it's no longer a scalp at that moment. If you guys are taking a scalp position and you're holding on to that for more than 5 minutes, it's no longer a scalp. You know, it turns back into, it turns into a day trade. And that kind of just messes up the whole analysis for the scalp move. All right, so we have a sell signal right here. I'm looking for a possible momentum divergence to come up here. I actually want a green candle to come up so we have a better confirmation of the divergence here, you know, the swing up. So I actually want this to close kind of like not good so that we can have a divergence right there instead of it being kind of flat. Okay, so if this next candle over here closes red, then this will be a momentum divergence. It's got to be an obvious red candle, though. It can't be like jumping around at the last second. So you see over here, how it's kind of jumping around a bit. It can't be jumping around like that. It's going to have to close like maybe down here. And it's got to for sure close down here. It can't be like, you know, these candles here where they kind of spike up at the last 5 seconds. Like, I'm okay with the spiking down, but spiking up, no, for sure not. And you can see right there, it's still pushing up. I'm going to ignore this news price right here because it's just low impact and I don't think market really reacted to it anyways. But again, like this candle here would have to close as a decently strong red candle for me to even think about taking it. And again, right here, you guys can see it's just consolidation. I mean, it's the same thing that's been happening from earlier. Here's a clean chart. You guys can see price consolidated right here, spike down here. Now it's back into consolidation. So, all right, no divergence there, unfortunately, guys. Now we have a buy signal pending. See, the divergence would be good here because if we have the divergence right here, I would assume that price would push down to this next whole number because this is going to move with the levels over here. So price broke above, broke below, retrace, continuation back down, and it would probably push down to the next level down here. But we didn't get that divergence there. So unfortunately, there's nothing for us to take. Let's take a look at the bigger picture. So the 1 minute's obviously kind of neutral bearish, 5 minutes bearish, 10 minutes bearish, 4 hours bearish, 1 hour is bearish, and the 30 minutes bearish. So I think a seller here would be more inclined to move in that direction. But again, the 1 minute here has to make a decision. It has to move in some sort of direction where we can work with it. We can't work with it right here. This is not the type of market that we want to be trading in. So everything's bearish though. You can see over here, pretty much all the time frames from the 1 hour to the 4 hour are pretty much bearish, except for the 1 minute being kind of tricky. Looking over here at CNBC, the fundamentals are currently down. They're down 313 points. We're obviously in a bearish market. Looking over here at the news calendar, there's nothing else going on today. We have more news later today at 7:30. It's another low impact news for the Dallas Fed. Other than that, there's nothing else until later today. Fed doesn't speak till 10:45. Looking over here at retail sentiment, it's pretty much flat. Yeah, it's straight flat right now. What's up, Kenny? How's it going, man? Long time no see. How's your trading been, Kenny? Hopefully you're surviving in this crappy market. You know, we were hoping it would probably pick up by now, but I know you kind of you went on your own for a bit, and yeah, I agree. So Kenny said markets are tough lately. I agree. That's exactly what we were talking about. I'm glad that you say that too, because we're not the only ones here that are seeing that, right? I think everybody's seeing that. If you know how to read the markets and you guys understand how the market structure is for the past couple months, it's been pretty tough. I mean, this is probably my worst month that I've had in a long time. So I was talking to this about like, I haven't had a bad month in years. I don't even remember the last time I had a red month. Like looking over here at our stats, like I'm currently at break even right now for May. I haven't had a break even month or a losing month in a long time. As you guys can see, every month, even the months where we took the breakout strategies, have been profitable, it's a tricky month for us. You look back at 2023, we had green months every single month, and the win rates were super high every single month. So, I mean, it happens. There's always going to be times like this where you're going to have 1 month out of the year that's kind of tricky, but typically it comes back. So just keep that in mind. You just have to be able to weather the storm. If you guys have been trading for a long period of time, it's really just weathering the storm. You got to understand that the market's not always going to be super smooth. It's not always going to be perfect. So you got to understand that on the months where they're not good, it's better to break even or to have a small loss versus to like blow your accounts, right? Because I'm trading my personal accounts too. I'm not just trading Apex. I'm trading my own personal money. You just have to be able to like just go with the flow. You really have to go with the flow, and then the market eventually will start to move good again. And at that point, you'll be able to capitalize on the back-to-back wins that we've had in the past. So this is just a crappy market. I don't know if anybody's having like a super great month so far. I don't think anybody has. Everybody I've talked to, like not even people in this group, but everybody I've talked to in general, everyone's kind of had a tough month. We're all kind of in the same boat. So we got the divergence right here. We need the retracement though. So we do have the sell right there. We had a sell signal. We had the bearish divergence. Now I'm looking for this here to swing back up for retracement. I was hoping it pushed down a little more though. So I need this to kind of come down a little bit, retrace up, and then come back down further. This right here is just consolidation. So it's not, I mean, price is still consolidating. So you can't see here as clearly, but let's go to our clean chart over here. You guys can see this is just the consolidation range. So we are looking for that momentum divergence, but if you guys look over here at the pivots, there's just no direction. The pivots are going sideways right here. We go over here to our clean chart, price is going sideways. We go to our levels chart. I mean, price is still going sideways. Not too much going on here. We got news in about 5 minutes at 7:30. Yeah, Kill said pivots are so tight. Yeah, they're not even moving directional here at all. So just be patient, guys. There's volatility in the market. I think an entry will probably come later in the market, like as price continues to like move directional. But yeah, we just got to be patient with it. We don't have to focus on just buys or just sells. I'm okay with either direction. I'm just waiting for our opportunity here to come up. So we have a buy signal here pending. If this buy signal closes, again, we'll look for price to kind of climb up a little bit, retrace, and continue up higher. Right. I'm okay with buys too. I don't have to take one direction. I'll take either direction. Yeah, Vimal said it's election time. We'll probably be ranging until there's a political shift. Yeah, I think once Trump starts to campaign a bit more, a little more publicly, then we'll definitely have some more direction. That's probably why the summer is going to be a little more volatile than it is right now. But as you guys know, Trump is still in court. He's still trying to fight off Stormy Daniels. So until he's done fighting the hush money case and whatever other cases they throw at him, he's not going to be able to campaign like he did before. He's still campaigning, but it's just not as public, and he's more on the political side versus kind of being outlandish. But once he starts to become outlandish, you guys can expect, some crazy stuff that probably happened in the market. All right, let me mark this up right here as a support level. So you guys can see the consolidation is happening between this middle area right here. Whenever price pushes out of this area, it's typically a fake out. Price pushes above, fake out, pull back into the range. Price pushes below, fake out, pulls back into the range. And here it's just consolidating again sideways. Not really too much going on here, but sideways consolidation, as you guys can see. And you guys can see whenever a momentum signal comes up, it doesn't really have any push behind it. You guys will see a buy signal came up right here, pulled right back down. Sell signal came up right here, pulled right back up. Buy signal came up, pulled right back down. One thing that you guys can apply when this type of market here is if you guys have seen the momentum pullback. If you guys remember that strategy actually works well. It might be able to work here with this sideways market. So if you guys remember the momentum pullback strategy, basically you would look for momentum and then you put a buy stop right there so that when price triggers it or when price retraces the opposite direction, it actually goes straight to your TP right here. So you'd have a buy entry just waiting right here. And then this green candle right here, as soon as it touches it, it goes straight to TP. And then same with this one right here, buy signal. You'd have your pending sell stop right there. And if it pushes down, it goes straight to your, and this one's still running right now. I don't recommend it unless you guys understand the strategy or know it, but this is, we call this the momentum pullback strategy. It's not meant to be used in this type of market though. It was meant to be used in a directional market. So for example, here, if you had a bearish market, you would just take it in that bearish direction. Or if you had a bullish market, you would take it bullish. So just, just keep that in mind. Yeah, Daniel said it sounds so insane that our past and potential president is fighting a hush money case with a porn star. LOL America. Well, I feel like with that case, they're just trying to tarnish his reputation. That's typically what happens with like politics. There's this show on Netflix, if you guys have seen it. I think it was called Paid in Full or something like that. It was about this guy who was a mayor, and it's funny because if you see what happens in that show, it's kind of like what's happening in the government now. And I'm sure it happens all the time, during political campaigns. They try to look for something to tarnish your opponent's reputation. And this guy was basically looking to accuse like the other candidate of like rape or something like that. Same with like with Trump here. It's the same thing. Like with Trump, they're trying to put him out as like a rapist, or something like that. But in reality, he paid uh what's her name? Stormy Daniels as like for her services, of course. So I mean, it's crazy. That's why for me, I would never want to be in politics or ever be like in the public eye. Like people who are like on reality TV shows, they're always under scrutiny. So all right, guys, we have news right here. I don't think there's anything really coming out strong. Let's check real quick. So we got news over here at 7:30. We'll refresh this. It doesn't really matter. It's probably gonna be positive, but we just marked up news price right there. I mean, regardless of the fact, there's still no direction here. I'm surprised the ATR is pretty high when actually I take that back. Market is moving here. It's moving. It's not necessarily flat. So it is going back and forth. So the ATR does make sense, but there's just no direction. So there's a range here. It's just going back and forth. Eventually, I think this is going to die down. And you can see right there, it jumped from 18 to 16 back to 17. Honest, I guess I see November, bro. Yeah, are you still out in Chicago, Honest? If you're still out there, we can meet up in November. I'll be in Chicago mid-November. I'll be competing out there for High Rocks. So yeah, we'll link up. I know we didn't get to meet up last time when I was in Chicago. Got to get ready for that cold weather. Kenneth said, my trading's been par, still in the green for the month, but not as much as usual. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, we were pretty decently in the green for like the past couple of weeks, and then it just seems like because usually we'll go weeks without losses, but every week we've had like one loss, whether it be a FOMO trade or an actual trade, and that kind of just keeps setting us back because typically we don't have that many losses per week, and then also we don't have as many wins, right? Like last week we had one win. Typically we have at least like one or two wins to kind of balance things out. This week's even a short week because of the holiday. And yeah, I'm just not really sure how this week's gonna close out. Anyways, guys, there's nothing going on here. You guys can see price is still back into the range. So like I said before, this is probably gonna be the best chart for us to just focus on because there's nothing for us to take here anyways. You guys can see here the pivots. Let me zoom out a little bit. The pivots aren't going anywhere. They're like literally just going sideways right here. So until we break out of this area, there's not really much that's going to happen, in my opinion. I don't really see too much happening here. Here's the levels chart again. Okay, so for my analysis here, I think price will continue dropping. So if the sell signal here closes, I don't want to say for sure, but I think price is most likely going to push down to this next level right here. Because I'm looking at how like price is moving here. Like we had a bullish swing up. We had a bearish swing down. Now, so what I would need here first, so we had a bearish swing right here, right? A broken close below it. What I would need next is I would need a kind of drop a little bit, retracement and continuation. If you guys see this pattern here come up, like if it pulls back, retraces and comes back down further, then my assumption is that price is going to come down to this next hold number right here at the 50 mark. So we'll take a look at this over here. This might start to set up for our momentum divergence. Let's see if we actually get some direction here. And this is going to line up with our divergence down here as well. So the same analysis that I just mentioned on the other chart, I'm looking for price to kind of come down a little bit, retrace, and then come back down further. But again, the target price point here that I'm looking for is going to be this lower level right here. I don't know when it'll happen, but I think eventually it'll probably continue to drop down, and that's probably where it's going to end up. But again, we need to get this to drop a little more, maybe to the halfway mark, retrace, and then make its way back down. Here's our clean chart. You can see price is currently at the support. So this is the same pattern that I was just referring to. So I'm looking for price to break the support here and continue dropping. Right? If it doesn't break the support, it doesn't close below it, then it's probably just going to range within this middle area right here. So again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. This is going to be the best chart to follow up on because of the way that this here moves. All right, so looks like it's just another fake out right there. So my analysis over here, it looks like it might not even play through, or it might still play through. So we do have the retracement right here. What I would look for next is the if it does pull back into this area, I would look for it to pull back down. So look for it to retest that area down below. So kind of push above, come back below, and then shoot back down. Nice work, Oscar. So Oscar said he caught 10 points on a sell trading in the range. So if you guys want to trade within the range, you guys can too. I mean, I wouldn't just take any random entry, but if you do see an actual decent entry, like say, for example, if you see a V1 pattern come up over here, there's actually a V1 right here. Is that the one you took, Oscar? I would have taken that one right there. Nice. So yeah, Oscar actually took this V1 right here. He saw the double body rejection and then he caught this down for a quick little sell. So nice work right there, Oscar. Catching that. So if you guys want to trade within the range, look for V1 patterns or CV patterns off the structure. Right, that's probably going to be your key opportunity for the bounces here within the range. Still nothing there. This market sucks. I mean, saying this market sucks is an understatement because the market really does suck. And it's not just today, it's just past couple months. At least for the past couple months, we were still able to lock in some pretty good profits. So like looking at our results for February, we were doing decent. We actually did really good during February. That was when we were doing the BV3s and the PRVs. We did not a high win rate, but the profit was pretty high, 125 points. March was really good with the BV3s. We had 200 points. April was decent. We locked in 110 points. Obviously, this month isn't. It's slacking a lot. It's slacking a lot. So I think this is the end of May. So hopefully by the end of this week, the market will actually do something. We can pick up and close out the month in profit. Otherwise, this is probably going to be the first break-even month or red month for me in over a year, maybe 2 years. We don't have the data from 2022, but the data from 2023 show that we had a pretty green month every single month, which is all good. I mean, it's all part of the game, right? You're not going to have phenomenal months. As long as you close out the year in the green, I think that's the biggest thing that you guys have to focus on. Focus on the bigger picture. So if you don't close the week out green, that's fine. If you don't close out the month out green, that's fine. But just make sure that you close out more green months than red months so that by the end of the year, you're in profit. That's just that's the key goal for everybody, or it should be the key goal for everybody. I feel like a lot of people are focused on making a lot of profit on like one day, but they don't see the bigger picture. That, it's really about being profitable for the year. not for the day or for the month or for the week. Because there's 12 months in a year, 52 weeks in a year, a bunch of days in a year. And you just gotta make the best of it. All right, so there's still nothing going on right here, guys. Price is currently at the resistance point. We'll see if price actually breaks above it or if it rejects off this point. Again, it's just yeah, Rashida said this market is making my head hurt. Yeah, no, same here. If it's making your head hurt, it's making my head throb for sure. Because this is, I mean, it's pretty obvious. You guys can see here, I've marked up the structure. You guys can see where price is at. There's like no surprises here. There's no surprises that, okay, price is just going to climb up or something like that. There's just no surprise here. Odds of this bouncing off the resistance here is very likely. It's probably going to fake out again like it did over here. So probably the same situation. Price kind of fakes out, pushes above it, makes people think it's going to climb above and go further, but then it just pulls right back in. So this is like flat. Yeah, Chase at Alpine and Trades by Matt have been killing it over the past few months. They only trade 50K accounts and get nice payouts, but they trade 5 hours a day. Yeah, I agree. I know them too. So I'm familiar with them, Chase. Yeah, they're great traders. They're great traders, but they trade all day. I can't do that. Like I would be dying to be on the chart like for 5 hours. That's a problem with this type of market is that the market's kind of, typically it's fast in the morning, but the market picks up towards the end or like middle. Yeah, no, those guys have been killing it. I know Alpine, he had some he blew a couple of accounts like over the past couple of months, but he bounced right back. The problem is that the volatility comes up a lot later. And the thing is, I'm not willing to stay on the market that late. So yeah, I mean, if we traded a little later, I mean, we'd probably find more entries. Like I've looked at the market after. It just doesn't fit my schedule right now. So I'm gonna look back to yesterday real quick. It's fine. We're not missing out on any entries here. It's gonna fake out anyways off this resistance. Well, let's just pull back to yesterday later in the session, right? So if you traded later in the session yesterday, like say around 12, like towards the end of the market, you guys can see that the volatility does pick up. It really does pick up, but you'd have to really wait for it because the market here, like for example, we traded at six to eight. The market here moved a little decent, but it just went into consolidation between 8 and about 9 o'clock. Between 8 and 10. 8 and 10 is like consolidation phase. And then between 10 and 12, if you guys want to trade the late period, like 10 and 12, there's some volatility. But again, you have to be on the charts like all day. And it just doesn't fit my trading plan. because my trading plan is to trade for an hour in the morning. And that's kind of like where I shine at, and that's where my edge is at. But if you guys want to trade later, you guys can see over here from like 10 up until 12. The market will pick up for like about an hour. Between 10 and 11:30 right here, it picks up, and then it consolidates for a while, and then it picks up a little bit for power hour at the end. But yeah, I'm gonna stick to what I'm doing because I know the market's gonna pick back up in the morning. It just doesn't make sense for the market not to be volatile in the morning because that's when everybody's trading. I feel like this is just it's just a little slump in the market. It's a slump right now until like the big players come back in the morning. I'm not really sure why the market kind of slowed down in the morning, but typically this is where it should be fast because it overlaps with London. Yeah, honestly, Sean, I noticed that late moves in New York, like yesterday. Yeah, that's how it's kind of been lately. I don't think that's going to be the case forever. I think that's like a temporary thing. So this is like typically what happens. Like when you start to see stuff like that, if you're too late, like I think right now, if you're to trade in the later sessions, you're kind of late to the party because as soon as you start trading in the later sessions, it's gonna invert, right? It's slow right now in the morning and then it picks up in the afternoon. But I feel like once you start to trade in the afternoon, it's going to be slow in the afternoon and then it's going to pick up in the morning. And you guys have seen that before, right? That's why I always tell you guys not to change your strategies. If you guys are trading a certain strategy and you know it's profitable, stick to that strategy and eventually the market will come back to you. The market's not always going to move in your favor 24/7. There's going to be some weeks, some months, maybe some years where the market's just not going to move in your favor. But eventually the market cycles They switch up. The cycles always change. And right now we're just in a cycle where the market's flat in the morning. So again, right here, it did exactly what we just talked about. I kind of joked around about price faking out right here, and it faked out. It did exactly what happened over here. So I'd be careful trading outside the range, guys. If you guys are looking to trade the breakouts outside of these ranges, look out for the fake outs first, because that's literally what's happening over here. We're having a fake out, pull back into the range, fake out, pull back into the range, fake out, etc. All right, so it looks like this might start to set up for a momentum divergence, guys, if price continues to climb down a bit lower. This looks like it could have been possibly a CV entry, but the candles are like about the same size, so maybe not. Nice work, William. William got his third screen going, so we got 3 screens going back to back. Pretty solid. Yeah, the extra screen makes a big difference, huh, William? Especially if you have 1 screen for trading, 1 screen for charting, 1 screen for chatting. Makes a huge difference. So guys, if there's any questions, feel free to pop into the chat. We got some team profits over here. Nice. So Johnny's up 1,400 for the day. He took 2 losses over here on his other accounts, but on his first account over here, he locked in 1,400. So nice work right there, Johnny. I haven't taken any trades today, so I have nothing to show for myself. There really hasn't been any entries here anyway, so not too much to work with. Akil said, too many fake outs, gonna call it. See you tomorrow. Definitely, we'll see you back here on Thursday. All right, here we go as price continues to move back within the range. Yeah, there's not much going on here, guys. But yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you want me to review anything, feel free to let me know. But you guys can see here, it's pretty obvious, nothing going on. I think our main focus for the next couple of days, couple of weeks, is probably going to be the clean chart, because the clean chart is going to show you pretty much everything here. You don't even have to have any tools on the chart. Like for our entries, of course, we'll use our tools, but if you just want to look at market structure, it's pretty clear. It's a pretty clear market structure. Let's take a look at different assets. So let's check NQ. I know a lot of you guys like to trade NQ. So let's just take a look at NQ real quick. I'm kind of curious to see what NQ is doing today, or what it's been doing since I know a lot of people have been asking, like, hey, you should probably trade NQ when YM is down. It might be the case here. Hey, what's up, Jose? Jose said, I'm back. My 1-minute chart doesn't look like yours. Am I doing something wrong? Take a screenshot of your chart, Jose, and I'll take a look at it. I mean, NQ is okay. It looks like there's still like it's still a little bit of a mess. I mean, it's kind of the same. NQ is cool, but it's moving just like YM. It's not like it's not making a big difference. It's actually worse because the range here is not super clear. So there is a range right here. Where price is ranging between this area, and then it breaks above, and it ranges between this area. So NQ today is still moving very similar to YM. It's still ranging. It's breaking out a little more, but there's still it's still not as clean as it's not enough for me to make the move from YM to NQ. I feel like this range is easier to trade in because you can just trade off the bounces if you wanted to. Yeah, Nick said hard to find good entries on NQ. So let's see what's wrong with your chart here. So, all right, so looking at your chart here, here, do this, Jose. On your chart, go down to the bottom right here where it has a circle button. It says reset chart view. Click on that. It'll push your chart back a little bit. The only thing that I see which is different on your chart is your pivots. So go to your pivots indicator. What I would recommend is just close it out, click remove, go to your indicators over here, go to invite only, go to K2 pivots, click on that, and it'll just give you the new pivots indicator. Because I'm looking at your screenshot right here, it looks like you only have 2 pivots on. So to fix that, just close it out and then open up another one. And it looks like you're just kind of zoomed in a bit. So it looks like you're kind of zoomed in like this. So look, this is what your chart looks like. But if you click on this here, it'll zoom out. You'll have the Y view right there. Close out your pivots, go to indicators, add it to your chart, and then it'll come up normal. So if I take this off, I'll show you, I'll do it myself. So if I take this off, you guys can see it's a little cleaner. Go to the pivots and it's back on your chart. Let's see. All right, so we're getting the push back up right here, guys. 650. We might still have an opportunity here for momentum divergence. There's a double body rejection right here. I don't know if anybody caught this. There was a double body right here for actually a V2, looks like, or a V1. I mean, it already hit, but it was at opening price. So it was at opening price right there. This right here is a V1 pattern. We have a double body right there. Bearish push to the downside. I mean, I wouldn't mess with these entries. There's too many red flags. Mainly the opening price right there. You know what's crazy? So looking at price here, opening price is right here. So it looks like the market didn't really go anywhere for today. So market's been open for about an hour and a half. And you guys can see that price is still at opening price. So it hasn't really gone anywhere. So, you know, the movement in the market wasn't really anything at all because we had this drop right here on open, price corrected back up. And then it just went back and forth between opening price the entire day, which is pretty unusual because, you know, usually when the market opens like that, it'll typically push away from opening price, like to the downside or to the upside. This just shows you that nothing, like literally nothing has happened in the market. Like if you're a long-time like a swing trader or an investor and you bought in at open, typically a lot of traders want to trade at open, right? So the market opens right here. They kind of have predictions and biases that price is going to be bearish or price is going to be bullish for the day, and they take their sell or they take their buy. The thing with this here is that price, you know, if they took their sell, they would have just lost all their gains because price came back to open. And then if they took the buy here, they would have been into some drawdown, but price just corrected back up and they're kind of just flat. So again, that's just another sign that market sucks. Let's see, back to, so Tom is asking, are we supposed to change contracts soon? To June, right? I believe so. Yeah. So by the end of the probably by next week, we'll be switching contracts. They'll typically send you an email when the contract shifts over. I use a continuous, so it doesn't really affect me, but yeah. Or actually, we're already on June. So we might be shifting. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to shift. Yeah, we might switch to September. You're right. Yeah, so I think, yeah, okay. So Nick said that he got the notification from Ninja Trader today. Yeah, they'll give you the option to roll over. So when it happens, I'll let you guys know when the rollover happens. I have mine set to automatic rollover. Here, let me see. Here, I just Googled it right now so that you guys can see it over here. So you guys can just Google Ninja Trader contract rollover. I have it set to, and I'll put it over here as well. I have it set to automatically roll over because I did this the last time. So I don't have to roll it over myself, but I put that right there in the chat, guys, if you guys are wondering. So I just went to database and I just did it to automatic rollover. So whenever it happens, it just updates for me. They have it there for NinjaTrader. And then if you want to look at TradeObate, I think they also have it on there as well. All right, so price finally broke out of the range right here. Thanks for Shooter for the heads up. So price finally broke out of the range. We'll see if that drop actually happens. So if you guys remember the markup I had here, okay, so it's doing exactly what I was mentioning. So see this markup right here where I said I was looking for the retracement and the continuation back down. It actually broke right here. And I said once price breaks from this point, I'm expecting it to go down to the next whole number right there, which is 45. So that it looks like that's what's going to happen right here. There's no specific entry for us here yet, but that's kind of what I'm looking for at this point. Damn, I just saw there was a momentum divergence right here. I don't know if you guys even saw that. You guys see the divergence? We were too sidetracked. We kind of missed the divergence right here. It was at news price, but I mean it was still a divergence. That would have been a divergence that I would have been okay with. Damn, it's all good. Yeah, William said high-low scalp that he missed as well. Yeah, the divergence there lined up with the high-low scalp, and it was a divergence right there. I don't know if I would have taken that divergence though, so I'm okay with that one right there. I would have been kind of iffy about taking this specific one because I would have been worried for the fake out. Because the divergence happened right here. It looks like the fake out is happening and it's pulling back into the range. So fake out right there, and then possibly a pull back into the range right there. William said, yeah, I can't take my eyes off the chart. Need to hire a full-time chart monitor. I know, right? It's all good. That trade would have been risky though. So for me personally, I don't know if we didn't have this range here, I would have been okay with taking it. But because we did have a range, I would have been a little cautious. Well, a lot of cautious actually, because I would have been, this is what caught us last week. If you guys remember, or not last week, yesterday, we took a loss that happened right here at the support level because we were waiting for price to break and close below it. It actually didn't close below at the very last second. And then I just ended up getting caught up in that trade there. Ended up eating the loss. So, I mean, it's all good. But all right, guys, it's getting close to 8 o'clock. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put your questions in the chat right now. Unfortunately, the market didn't really do much today. So you guys can see it's just been a sideways market all day today. So there wasn't too many opportunities for entry. There's one entry that came up right here. It was the one that we were looking for, but it didn't line up with what I was trying to take. So unfortunately, I just held off on that there. Let's see. And there was an MPS that just came up right here as well. Nice work, Kenny, if you caught that. Yeah, it looks like Kenny caught the MPS right here. So there was another entry that came up right here. Price retraced up. Entry would happen right here at the 80 mark. Again, I would be very careful about taking any entries below this point because it looks like there's no confirmation of actual, that price has been established at this area here. If anything, I mean, price might push down to this whole number, the 50 mark. That's kind of what I'm expecting. And the thing is, if it breaks past this area here, so if we get a break past this whole number right here, then I'm expecting it to push even further to the 100 mark right here. So yes, I could see price kind of dropping a little further from where it's currently at. But it's getting close to my cutoff. So my cutoff is 8 o'clock. I'm not really looking to force any trades here. I don't want to take anything dumb because you guys know what happens when I take these dumb trades. It just becomes a FOMO move. And at this point, it's just FOMO because I already missed the entry up here, even though it's not one I would have taken, but this is what we were looking for. So if you guys are not familiar with what I'm focused on right now, I'm mainly focused on taking momentum divergence entries. The reason for that is because the momentum is still there, even though we're moving in a sideways market. So if we get momentum that can swing back and forth, I'm okay with taking those entries to just catch the little swings. when they're able to be established. You can see right here, it's getting close to 8 o'clock. We're about a minute from it. So I don't expect anything to happen from now until then. We have like less than a minute from 8 o'clock. And I think right now is just a good time to probably wrap it up. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, it's about to be 8 o'clock here in about 30 seconds. So this is my cutoff time for my trading plan. As you guys know, I only trade between 6:30 and 8. Usually I cut off my trading at 7:30 if I already have my trade by then, but lately the market's been super slow. So we've been on these live sessions a little bit longer than usual to the 8 o'clock time. So I would recommend just be safe, guys. If you guys want to trade, I'd probably chill out from like now until 9 o'clock, and then from like 9 to maybe 10, trade from there until 12, because that's when the power hour picks up and the volatility starts to kind of catch its speed. But right now, as you guys can see from the clean chart, there's just nothing here for you guys to really work with. Because this could just be another fake out, and price would probably just pull right back into the range. And then you'll be stuck in this sideways market for the next hour or so. All right, yeah, Williamson, see you tomorrow. I'm staying on for a bit, part of his trading plan. So, all right, William, good luck to your trading. Good luck to everybody's trading here if you guys decide to continue trading. If the market stays flat from 8 until say 8:30, I would just wrap it up, guys. Just keep that in mind. Because between 8 and 9 is usually where people go to lunch on the East Coast. And the market's probably gonna be flat for that period. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the